I should have known something was off when she stopped ending her texts with "I love you." It sounds stupid, I know, but when you're halfway across the world in a sandbox with people trying to kill you, you cling to the little things. You get sharp about patterns. And when someone's tone shifts, even in a text, your gut starts whispering that something's not right. Mine was screaming. I'm James. I served 2 tours in the Middle East. This happened during my second, about 3 years ago. Back then, I was married to Nicole. We'd been together for 4 years, married for 2. She was my high school sweetheart turned spontaneous fiancée. We had a courthouse wedding before I left for my first deployment. Simple, rushed, but filled with genuine hope. She said she loved me because I was dependable, that she didn't want a guy with wild ambition, but one who made her feel safe. I thought that meant she appreciated stability. Turns out she just liked having a warm placeholder. Anyway, I left for my second tour thinking everything was fine. Nicole even surprised me with a little pre-deployment party. She cried at the airport, hugged me like she was losing oxygen, told me to come back to her, said she'd be counting the days. And for a while, the communication was steady. Letters, care packages, late-night video calls whenever I could sneak Wi-Fi. I tell her about the absurd things my squad mates would say, or how some of the locals had started calling me Captain America because of my build and the dumb patch I wore. She loved that. Said it made her feel so proud. Her words. But then it tapered off. No more packages. Shorter messages. Vague responses. She started taking longer to reply and occasionally wouldn't answer at all. At first, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Figured she was just stressed, maybe working more hours. I didn't want to be the clingy husband making her feel guilty. But then my buddy Ortiz, who had mutual friends with Nicole back in her hometown, sent me a screenshot. It was Nicole, with a guy. Not just any guy. Some dude with a tacky sleeve tattoo and one of those smug, Jim Bro smiles. She was in his lap, wearing the hoodie I gave her before deployment, kissing his cheek. The caption? Home is wherever I'm loved, #thankful. Ortiz said, bro. I didn't want to believe it, but I figured you deserved to know. I stared at the photo for what felt like an hour. Nothing made sense. The same woman who had just told me, a week prior, that she was struggling to sleep without me, was now playing happy couple with a guy whose name I didn't even know. When I messaged her, she took 8 hours to reply. Her response was, and I quote, James, I didn't want you to find out like this. It's complicated. Can we talk when you're back? No denial. No apology. Just a whoops, you found out shrug in text form. I was too numb to reply right away. I sat in the dim corner of our shared bunk room, staring at my screen, wondering what the hell complicated even meant. Ortiz told me. She's been posting with him a lot. Not public posts, but her close friends list. I guess she thought you wouldn't hear about it. Cool. So I've been demoted from husband to background noise. She didn't even have the guts to go public, just close friends. Like a coward in camo-colored lies. But here's where it gets even more surreal. 2 weeks later, while scrolling during downtime, I stumbled on Nicole's public Instagram. She hadn't blocked me. Guess she forgot. But didn't care. She had posted a picture of herself, dressed in patriotic red, white, and blue, with her new man, same Jim Bro, wrapped in an American flag at a 4th of July cookout. The caption? Proud military wife, #freedom, #support our troops, #blessed. Military. Wife. I laughed out loud. Like full belly laughed. So the guys looked over, probably thinking I'd finally snapped. Honestly, I think I had. But not in a bad way. I wasn't sad anymore. I was pissed. You don't get to cheat on your deployed husband and then throw up some cheap dollar store patriotism for Instagram clout. You don't get to benefit from the label without doing the work. You're not a proud military wife if you can't even stay loyal during the time you're supposed to be holding it down. At that point, I didn't even want to talk to her. I didn't care about explanations or closure. I just wanted distance and maybe a receipt for the hoodie. When I finally got back stateside 3 months later, I didn't go home. I stayed at my buddy Mark's place about 2 hours away from our hometown. He and I had served together on our first tour and stayed tight ever since. He was the one who picked me up from base and didn't ask a single question until I was ready to talk. Nicole, meanwhile, had no idea I was back. I'd gone full radio silent. Not to play games, but because I genuinely had nothing to say. I'd already made up my mind. I got a lawyer. Simple, clean divorce filing. I had all the evidence, thanks to Ortiz and a few screenshots Nicole never thought anyone would see. Her complicated situation turned out the new guy was someone she met through her job at the gym. They'd been talking for over 2 months before I ever found out. According to mutual friends, she'd spun a nice little narrative about how I was emotionally unavailable, that the distance was too hard, and how things just happened. You know, the usual trash script people use to justify selfish choices. She even tried to contact my mom. Sent her a long, heartfelt message about how James changed after his deployment and how she wishes things were different. My mom, bless her soul, replied with one line. Things are different. He's better off. God, I love that woman. The best part? When the divorce papers finally reached Nicole, she tried to act shocked. I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer, but she left a voicemail. James, I didn't think you'd actually go through with it without talking to me. Can we please just meet once? I feel like I owe you that. Or maybe you owe me that. Oh yeah? I owed you? I didn't respond. I didn't block her either. I wanted her to see the silence, to sit in it. In the end, she signed. Probably realized I wasn't bluffing. My lawyer said she didn't contest anything. I got to keep everything I'd brought into the marriage, including the car and the military benefits. The last I heard, she and Jim broke up a few months later. Apparently, he didn't like being with someone who still got tagged in military spouse appreciation posts from relatives. The irony. I'm doing all right now. Started therapy. Focused on rebuilding, not just career-wise, but emotionally. I'm not bitter. Not really. More like wiser. Less naive. I see red flags earlier now. I don't romanticize loyalty. I expect it. There's something freeing about realizing you don't need to make someone see your worth. You just have to know it yourself. About a month after the divorce was finalized, I got invited to a small gathering hosted by one of my old Army buddies. Just a chill backyard cookout. I wasn't planning to go at first, but Mark basically dragged me out of the house. Said I needed to be around humans that don't shoot at you or sleep with your wife. Fair point. I showed up, brought some decent beer, and kept my expectations low. The thing about being betrayed like that, especially while serving, is that you lose trust in more than just one person. You question your judgment, your instincts, your ability to read people. So, socializing again felt weird, like wearing shoes that no longer fit. But here's the surprise twist. I had fun. The guys didn't ask me invasive questions. No pity looks. No, bro. How are you really doing? Interrogation. Just easy conversation, bad jokes, grilled meat, and a shared understanding that sometimes people suck and life just keeps going. It was halfway through the night when someone, Tommy, a guy I hadn't seen since basic, casually dropped a bomb. Hey man, I saw Nicole at the gym last week. She's still using your last name, by the way. I blinked. Wait, what? Yeah, one of the girls I know goes there. Said she calls herself Mrs. Parker like she's still married. Made some comment about her husband being deployed again. I figured you'd re-enlisted or something. Nope, I had not. Turns out Nicole, post-divorce, had been telling people she was technically still married, that we were figuring things out, and that I was off on another mission. She created this weird little fantasy where she still got the respect of being a military wife without any of the actual responsibility or, the husband. I wasn't even mad. Not really. At that point, it felt pathetic, like watching someone cosplay a life they ruined. There's desperation, and then there's delusion. She was clearly dipping into both. I could have confronted her, could have blasted it on Facebook, made some angry post like, FYI, I'm divorced. Stop pretending otherwise. But honestly, I didn't want to give her airtime. Let her play pretend. The people who mattered knew the truth. That was enough. Still, what she did next, that one got under my skin. Out of morbid curiosity, I checked her social media one night. Bad habit, I know, but it's like scratching a scar. Sometimes you want to see if it still hurts. And there it was. A long Instagram post. Picture of her at a beach, sunset behind her, looking off into the distance like she'd just solved world peace. Caption: growth is painful. Losing love is painful. But nothing is more painful than staying stuck in a story that isn't yours anymore. I chose peace. I chose me. Hashtag healing, hashtag military spouse life. Comments were full of heart emojis and "you're so strong" and "proud of you, girl." I sat there, jaw clenched, rereading that post. She'd managed to twist the narrative so hard that she came out the victim in her own mess. She cheated, lied, pretended to still be married, and now she was the brave one. The therapist I'd started seeing, Lisa, once told me, people will create whatever version of the story lets them sleep at night. Your job isn't to correct it. Your job is to live better. Yeah, well, easier said than done when the lies get likes. But okay, cool. She wants to rebrand herself as the broken, soulful phoenix rising from the ashes of my trust. Let her. I, meanwhile, had started journaling. Daily. No filters. Just brain dumps. Some entries were angry. Some were numb. Others were kind of hilarious in a dark humor kind of way. Like the time I found an old note she wrote me before I left for tour. It said, "No matter where you go, I'll be waiting. Always." I scribbled next to it. She forgot to include, "unless Chad from Planet Fitness shows up with a six-pack and an arm sleeve." It was 6 months after our divorce that I got an unexpected text. Unknown number. "Hi, James. I hope this isn't weird. This is Ashley. I used to work with Nicole at the gym. I know we've never met, but I wanted to say something if that's okay." I almost didn't reply, but curiosity won. Me? Sure. "What's up, Ashley? I just wanted to let you know that a few of us knew what she was doing while you were deployed. We didn't say anything because, well, it wasn't our place. But I always felt gross about it, especially because she used your name to get discounts and clout around the gym." I stared at the message, stunned. Wait, she was using my name for discounts? Ashley. Yeah. She kept your military ID photo on her phone. Said you were coming home soon. Even tried to get free training sessions, claiming you were both struggling financially because of the war. Total mess. You know what emotion hit me first? Not rage. Not even hurt. Embarrassment. I let that woman into every part of my life. I gave her everything, my trust, my plans, my name, and she turned it into a coupon code. Ashley, and I ended up talking for over an hour. She wasn't gossiping. She just genuinely wanted me to know the truth. She said Nicole eventually got caught lying to a new trainer, tried to use my name again, and when they found out we were divorced, it all blew up. She got fired a month later for unrelated, unprofessional behavior. So yeah, karma showed up wearing combat boots. Life didn't magically get better. I didn't wake up one day and go, "Wow, I'm healed now." It was more like slow erosion. The pain wore down over time. The sting softened. One day I realized I'd gone a whole 24 hours without thinking about her. That felt like progress. I started running again. Not because I was chasing anything, just because movement felt good. I picked up cooking. Turns out I'm pretty decent at steak and horrendous at baking. I got a dog. Rescued, mutt named Whiskey. He's missing a toe and looks permanently confused, but he's loyal as hell. Nicole reached out one last time. Just a short DM. "Hey, I know you probably hate me, but I think about you a lot. Just wanted to say sorry. For everything. I didn't handle things right. No follow-up. No ask. Just that." I left it on read. Because the thing is, I didn't hate her. I pitied her. She wanted to feel special. Wanted attention, praise, admiration. And instead of earning it honestly, she stole it from a uniform she didn't wear and a man she didn't honor. I hope she figures herself out. Truly. But that's no longer my concern. I wasn't expecting to see her again. Not a place like that. It was a Saturday, almost a year post-divorce, and I was walking around a local farmer's market with my buddy Gabe and his wife, just grabbing fresh bread and pretending I had a refined palate for goat cheese. Things were good. I was stable, feeling grounded. I'd been promoted at work, I was volunteering with a local vets group, and I'd even started talking to someone casually, a smart, hilarious nurse named Tessa I met through a community hiking group. No pressure. Just two adults talking like humans. Refreshing. So, naturally, that's when the universe decided to throw me a test. I was sipping on an iced coffee, half listening to Gabe complain about traffic when I saw her. Nicole, standing at the jam stand. No gym bro in sight. No flag-themed sundress or force grin. Just her in workout leggings and a messy bun, holding a tiny jar of blueberry preserve like she was auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. For a second, I froze. It was one of those odd moments where time does that slow motion thing, like my brain was trying to decide whether to laugh, hide, or spontaneously combust. She saw me. Her eyes widened, and I swear she opened her mouth to say something, but I turned before she could. Not because I was afraid or bitter. I just didn't know her that moment. I kept walking. She didn't follow. Just stood there holding the jam, looking like she'd seen a ghost. Maybe she had. A few weeks after that non-encounter, I got a message from someone I hadn't talked to in years, Caitlin. She was one of Nicole's old friends, more of an acquaintance to me back then. We'd only interacted at double dates or birthday dinners, nothing deep. Her message? Hey James, I hope it's okay that I'm reaching out. I saw Nicole a while back, and, well, I feel like I need to say this. I braced myself for more drama, but it was surprisingly validating. Caitlin had bumped into Nicole at a brunch event. They exchanged polite small talk until Nicole casually mentioned that I was cold, that I just shut down and left her in the dark. Said I ghosted her after deployment, and that she never even got the chance to explain herself. So Caitlin, who apparently followed some of my posts from the vet group and had quietly kept up with my life, decided she'd had enough. She told Nicole flat out, in the middle of brunch, "You didn't get ghosted. You got consequences." Then she pulled up one of Nicole's old posts, the proud military wife one, and read it out loud, in public. Apparently, Nicole turned bright red, stammered, and left early. I laughed when I heard that. A long, satisfied laugh. The kind you let out when you didn't even ask for justice, but karma delivered it anyway, gift-wrapped and flaming. Caitlin ended her message with, "You deserve better. We all saw it. Just thought you should know someone said it to her face." There's this idea that the best revenge is success. And sure, there's truth to that. I moved on. I've grown. My life is peaceful. But honestly, the best revenge might just be peace. Not the performative kind where you post selfies and humble brag quotes. Real peace. The kind where you wake up and don't check your phone hoping for, or dreading, a message. Where your thoughts are your own again. Where someone mentions your ex and your stomach doesn't drop. That's where I am now. I've stopped checking her socials. I deleted old photos. I boxed up the past, metaphorically and literally. Moved into a new place with better light and no echoes of old fights. Tessa, the nurse I mentioned, we've been seeing each other more. It's slow, intentional. She knows the story, but she doesn't treat me like I'm broken. She makes space without making it about her. It's not a fairy tale, but it's honest. I'll take honest over perfect any day. Nicole still exists somewhere out there. Probably still figuring out who she is when no one's watching. Maybe she'll get together. Maybe not. But it's not my journey to track anymore. Someone once asked me if I'd ever forgive her. And the truth? I already have. Quietly. Not for her, but for me. Because carrying resentment feels like drinking stale coffee. Bitter, pointless, and guaranteed to keep you up at night. Recently, I was invited to speak at a high school for a Veterans Day program. It was weird standing in front of a bunch of kids who were the age I was when I first enlisted. They asked about combat, about fear, about what I missed most while deployed. One kid, maybe 16, asked what the hardest part of being away was. I told him the truth. It's not the sand, not the heat. It's not even the danger. The hardest part is trusting someone back home to protect your peace while you protect theirs. And realizing sometimes they don't. He nodded like he understood. Maybe he did. Maybe he will someday. But I left that auditorium feeling proud. Not because I'd said something profound, but because I'd made it through something I once thought would break me. Nicole was part of my story. A loud, painful chapter. But that chapter closed. The book didn't end. It kept going. It's been a little over 2 years now. I didn't plan to write an update, honestly. I thought I was done with all of this. I thought once I reached that quiet place in my head, where her name didn't rattle the walls or echo through my thoughts, I'd let the past sit where it belonged. But something happened last weekend that made me realize the story wasn't quite finished. I was at a mutual friend's birthday cookout. A small gathering, laid back. Nothing dramatic. I didn't even know Nicole would be there until I saw her standing across the yard holding a red cup and awkwardly talking to a woman I didn't recognize. Our eyes met, and I'll say this, I didn't flinch. She did. She gave me this small, almost reflexive wave. I nodded, polite but neutral. I wasn't going to avoid her, but I wasn't about to start small talk, either. I'd done my time. She knew that. A little later, as I was helping clean up some folding chairs, she came over. Quietly. No big scene. "Hey," she said. "Mind if I say something real quick?" I glanced around. No audience. No performance. Just her, nervous, hands in her pockets. I shrugged. "Go ahead." She looked different. Not in a she got older way. More like she finally stopped trying to be whoever the internet wanted her to be. Less filters, more human. "I know you probably don't care anymore," she started, "but I've been meaning to say this for a long time. I was awful to you. Selfish. Immature. And honestly, I didn't even understand how much damage I did until way after." I didn't say anything. Let her talk. She continued. "I wanted the image more than I wanted the work. I like being a military wife more than I liked being your wife. And when things got hard, I looked for attention instead of facing what I broke." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, I figured that out somewhere between the sandstorms and your Instagram quotes about choosing peace." She let out a small, embarrassed laugh. "I deserve that." Then, quieter, "I didn't deserve you." I didn't agree or argue. Just looked at her and said what I'd known for months. "It's okay. You were broken in a different way. I was too proud to see it back then. But I've healed. I'm not carrying it anymore." She blinked like she didn't expect that. And maybe she didn't. Maybe she came hoping for me to still be bitter so she could feel less alone in her guilt. But I wasn't bitter. Not anymore. She asked, "Are you happy?" And here's the wild part. I didn't have to think about it. "Yeah," I said. "I am." She smiled, and it looked real. Then she said goodbye and walked off. No tears. No drama. Just closure. Quiet. Overdue. And unscripted. Tessa and I moved in together 6 months ago. It's not a rom-com. She still gets annoyed when I leave coffee mugs on a bathroom counter, and I still think her habit of vacuuming at 9 p.m. is borderline criminal. But we talk. We show up for each other. There's no scoreboard. No blurred lines. It's just two people who've both had some pain in their past and chose not to let it define the rest of the story. The other day, she asked me something while we were folding laundry. If you could go back and erase her, would you? I didn't even blink. No, I wouldn't. Because the truth is, Nicole breaking me open made space for things I didn't know I needed. Therapy, self-respect, actual community, and the realization that love without integrity isn't really love at all. I learned how to say no. I learned that loyalty isn't about sticking with someone who hurts you just because you once pictured a future with them. I learned that being someone's safe place means nothing if they treat you like a pit stop. And most of all, I learned that healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about building something better on the other side of it. Maybe you're still in the middle of your own storm. Maybe you just found out the person you trusted most lied, or cheated, or walked away and took your peace with them. Here's what I'll tell you. It's okay to be angry. That means you still care about your worth. It's okay to feel humiliated. That just means you were brave enough to open up. And it's okay to grieve someone who's still alive. That kind of loss hits differently. But you'll get through it. Not because time heals everything, but because you'll eventually get tired of giving your power to someone who stopped earning it long ago. One day, their name won't feel like a bruise. One day, you'll wake up, make your own damn breakfast, laugh at something stupid, and realize they're just a footnote now, not the whole book. One day, someone will love you better, but the real gift is, so will you. Final word. She left me while I was deployed, and I still won. Not in a revenge kind of way. Not because I'm richer, hotter, happier, or more successful, but because I came back from that deployment and built a life that has nothing to do with proving her wrong, and everything to do with being right by me. She posted those proud military wife pictures to get validation. I lived through it quietly to find peace. And peace? That's worth more than any post.